Title: The Big Sick, China Edition, COVID Waves Aiming for a 65 Million per Week High Score. TLDR. COVID-19 is planning a China comeback tour, potentially bringing 65 million infections per week to the party by late June, according to predictions. Remember when China had the toughest anti-COVID measures globally? Well, those are pretty much old news now, thanks to a dismantled COVID infrastructure and a public that's got the May feels about it all. And the star of the show? The new Omicron variant, XBB, fueling the big wave. So, what's the buzz in the hive, you ask? China, the OG COVID-19 origin country, is apparently getting ready for a monster wave of the virus that could see a staggering 65 million cases per week by the end of June. Now that's some way to end the summer, right? Who's the party pooper with this rather unpleasant forecast? That'd be respiratory disease specialist Zhong Nanshan, who dropped this bomb at a medical conference recently in Guangzhou. His model suggests we could be looking at around 40 million infections per week in China soon, but don't get too comfortable. By the end of June, we might be staring at a whopping 65 million weekly count. And we thought the US peak of 5 million per week was mind-blowing. But what happened to China's hardcore COVID defense strategy, you wonder? Well, they essentially hit the delete button on that a few months back. Lockdowns, mass testing, intense quarantines, and mask mandates, all of that now, seems like stuff from a bygone era. Apparently, the public sentiment echoes this approach. Qi Zhang, a finance company employee, gives us some deets, saying, the last time, everyone was terrified, but now they don't think it's a big deal. However, here's where the plot thickens. China, just like Uncle Sam, stopped giving weekly updates on COVID cases this month. So we're left with more question marks than answers. What's the real deal with this outbreak? Is it under control, or is China, like, 2 steps away from disaster? So what's the US take on all this? The State Department has its ear to the ground, but isn't saying much. They're monitoring the situation along with the CDC, and talking about the COVID situation with allies and partners. And what about those travel restrictions imposed on China before being lifted in March? Well, it seems like they've got a wait and watch policy for now. Now, all this info leaves us at Turned Up News with some burning questions. Just how effective can a country be in tackling a health crisis of this magnitude if the very infrastructure created to combat it has been dismantled? Can we afford to be laid back in the face of a virus that has proven time and again its capacity to mutate and wreak havoc? Is the world ready for another large-scale outbreak, and what are the potential global repercussions? Most importantly, where does this leave us as global citizens in the fight against the pandemic? Do we really believe we're out of the woods? Or are we whistling past the graveyard? Let's hear your thoughts, peeps. Disclaimer.